Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, I have something from Under Armour. Yet again, always excited to review Under Armour stuff. And these are the boots that I have been requested to review so many times. And finally, I got them. Under Armour Tac Loadout. Very popular Under Armour military tactical combat boots. Check them out. Overall, I have to say I am a huge fan. This is, whenever it comes to military, whenever it comes to combat boots in general, this is usually what I prefer. This is usually the kind of style that I like. The lightweight, something with a very good versatile outsole, something very nice and grippy that gives you good balance and stability and traction in the first place on sandy surfaces, on wet slippery surfaces, and in this case this is not waterproof, but as you can see there are the drainage vents over here, so if you get this wet it will dry up really quickly. So let's get into the main review. As some of you already know, this review specifically for my Ultimate Survival boots section. Basically, if this wasn't just your, well, I mean, if you're buying this, you're obviously buying it as a tactical boot, as a combat or military boot. So you already have all of those survival situations in mind, right? You're probably expecting something to happen where you need to walk for extended periods of time, where you need to run, fight, climb, I don't know, do whatever is necessary to survive, right? In a combat situation. Would this be good for your survival? How do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, of course, comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots and shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run, non-stop, and then a 5-mile walk. Again, non-stop, no pauses in between. And then after I'm done with all of that, I continue wearing the boots for the rest of the day so that the total wear time is about 8 hours. And like I said, I do like the comfort level of these boots a lot. There are a few factors that contribute to that comfort level. Let's start with the first one, the weight. Let me find my scale. And this is, by the way, size 10, and we will see exactly how light or heavy this size 10 these boots are. 16.4, and let me tell you guys, well, 16.5 now. Excellent weight, definitely on the lighter side. And to give you kind of the reference numbers, if you're looking for something lightweight, you want something under 20 ounce. The more under 20 ounce you find the boot or shoe to be, the lighter it's going to feel, meaning that you can run, you can walk for extended periods of time without getting that fatigue from the weight. And don't confuse it with the fatigue from walking and running, because you're putting effort, your muscles get strained, so you will get fatigue regardless. But in this case, it's specifically from the weight on your feet. 16.5, very good weight, especially for a full-size boot. Well, this is more of a covering, but still you do have some protection, which we will talk about later. But let's move on to another factor that contributes to the comfort level. It's the flexibility of the outsole. And here, as you can see, it is not only flexible, but it also creases in the right spot, not creating unnecessary pressure points that can take away from the comfort level. Here, actually, it creases in just the right spot. And running in these boots, you can actually run properly without any problem. So if you're buying it for your military training, rocking, that's gonna be great. You're gonna actually enjoy running in these, because you can run properly without putting stress on your heels, on your ankles, or on your knees. But there is another thing that contributes to the comfort level. It's the inner sole. And let me see if I can attempt to dig it out of the boot. All right, there we go. Nothing crazy over here. Now, honestly, I think the inner sole could have been a little bit better. In my opinion, a little bit more cushioning, just because I prefer. It's my personal preference. Don't get it wrong. Some people like it a little bit firmer. Some people like a little bit more cushioning. I do like when there's a little bit more cushioning. Although here you do get decent, kind of a standard, I would say, amount of cushioning. You can see there's a decent heel bed. You can see there's decent arch support, and overall the shape is pretty good. I just wish it was a little bit more cushioning. But once you remove it, it goes straight into the midsole, which does add a little bit to kind of impact protection. but you know, feels pretty good. But we also move on to the padding. Now, this is where things get a little bit up to you type of things, right? So there is no padding in the tongue, there is no padding in the shaft, it just goes straight into this material, which is not as aggressive as a lot of other boots in the same category that I've tried personally, that I reviewed on this channel. It still is kind of soft and more or less pleasant to the touch, but I highly recommend getting a nice, long, thick socks so that you have that extra padding, that kind of, so that this does not rub on your skin. Even though it's not that bad, still you're gonna be much more comfortable if you have longer, taller socks than the actual boot, and that has a little bit of thickness to them. Moving into the boot, probably about, so for the tongue, it's right here. As you can see this line, there is this stitching going here, and as for the shaft, it's right here, there's this stitching. So as you go past this stitching, you start getting some padding, and that's a good thing. So you get some padding, and the padding goes up to about here, and then here you got your toe box. It's just hard toe box as on the outside as on the inside. So again, it's very important to have thicker socks with these boots to have a little bit of extra, you know, padding here as well, just like here. Okay, so if you do implement that, you're gonna improve the comfort level of, you know, of this boot by a lot. I think that's how it should be worn. So overall, on the comfort level, it is pretty good. I can't really say that this is a complaint, because it's not. It's still a good inner sole, and that the absence of padding here and padding here is some kind of a negative factor, because I do understand, you know, they want to make it as light and as dryable, you know, as quickly as possible for it to dry. But let's move on to the criteria number 2, the proofing and protection, and I'm going to talk about the waterproofing here. So these are not waterproof, but they are designed to get wet and get dry quickly. So you see there's drainage vents on this side right here. This is where, obviously, this is for breathability as well. It definitely adds to the breathability, for sure. It's a good kind of ventilation. But also, if you are getting into the river, if you are, you know, doing something or getting it wet, you have that airflow for the water to come out, first of all, and then the airflow for the inside of the boot to dry quicker compared to something that is enclosed. And personally, I do prefer this. If it's not waterproof, it better be quickly dryable, all right? And this is the case here. So pretty good job there Under Armour did. But let's talk about the protection. You don't really have as much of the protection here in the overall boot. Your toe is, I mean, obviously you do have a little bit of that reinforcement from, you know, the overall construction of the toe box, and also obviously the rest, you have a fabric, right? Not too much. You do have a little bit of a padding here, so you do have a little bit more protection for the ankles, which is good. Here you don't really have anything. This is very, very thin, very soft, which is not that big of a deal. My ankles are more or less protected. That's good. The heel, same thing as the toe box, and of course you have decent amount of protection, very, very decent amount of protection from the outsole, but we will talk about the outsole later. So overall, if you are the type of person, kind of like myself, prefer more lightness and more mobility over protection, because with all the protection, you're going to have the weight, right? Then you're going to appreciate this, you're going to love this. And one comparable boot here would be Denier Tachyon. If you're familiar with Denier Tachyon and you like that type of style of boot, you're gonna love these guys, because they are, in my opinion, they're a little bit better than the Tachyons. But let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality-wise, I mean, it's Under Armour, you know. Under Armour has been fantastic to me so far. Excellent stuff, pretty much everything. I haven't really been disappointed, per se, with Under Armour just yet. Everything I've gotten on this channel from Under Armour was great. Sometimes I do have quality control issues because they're a big company, so you know, if you get something defective, just return it and get a new one. That's why I buy it from Amazon. The link, by the way, is in the description below. Speaking of Amazon, there's over 130 reviews, almost 5 stars, so people do like these boots, like myself, for sure. Now, talking about the design features, usually here I talk about the lacing system. There's really no other fancy, unique design features here apart from the vents. So, The lacing system, it's one of those boots that takes forever to put on and takes forever to put off. It's one of those boots where you wish you had a side zipper. I understand why this boot probably would not be a good idea to have a side zipper here, because this is just too soft of a shaft to have a side zipper. So whatever, scratch that, just an idea. But speaking of the lacing system, here you have 4 pairs of closed fabric hooks and then 4 pairs of closed metal hooks. So all of them are closed hooks. Obviously that adds to the time you spend putting this on and taking them off. So yeah, this just one of those things, right? Personally, I like something that you can take off quickly, just in case, as part of your survival. This is not the case here, unfortunately, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on to the criteria number 4, outsole traction and stability. Now, whenever I do my run and my walk, for testing of the comfort level, I do it on a variety of different surfaces, starting with newer tarmac, then the older asphalt, then dry sand, wet sand, wet grass, dry grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, rubber, marble tile, and then also tested on the rock wall. And let me tell you guys, this outsole is one of the best outsoles that I reviewed on this channel. I am pretty sure this is one of the best outsoles on the military tactical boot, on the combat boot, like that. Definitely better than Air Tac, in my opinion. I would go with this outsole, definitely 100%. This is great. This is versatile. You can use it. It gives you excellent grip literally on everything, because you see overall it's kind of flat, but at the same time these grooves are extremely aggressive. So you're not slipping and sliding on a wet grass, you're not slipping and sliding on a wet sand, and at the same time there is no complicated grooves where the sand or rocks can get stuck, so that you are, adding weight to your boot and taking away from the traction. And you probably noticed this is a Vibram outsole, and Vibram, some of the best outsoles out there are Vibram outsoles. They know what they're doing whenever it comes to the outsole. Okay, I have to specify the outsole, not the shoes, the outsole. Big difference. But this layer, this rubber, is because it's high quality rubber, it adds a lot of protection there as well from the bottom. Whenever you're walking or running, like in my case, over the rocky road with some sharp rocks here and there, you don't feel anything at all. It does absorb everything into it. Maybe I could say, just trying to find something to complain about, it's not really a complaint. Maybe I wish there was some ridges on the side for rope climbing or tree climbing or whatever kind of climbing you do, as part of your training. Obviously military training would be nice, but you still can climb a rope even with this, because there's enough of these aggressive grooves that you can use in order to climb something. But overall, absolutely fantastic outsole. I absolutely love it, and the way it is shaped, the design, the pattern, everything about it is just great. So Under Armour, they absolutely nailed the outsole on this one. Let's move on to the criteria number 5 really quickly. Temperature. Now this is not obviously a winter boot, so I didn't even mention snow and ice in the outsole, because it's gonna handle good on snow, but you don't want it in the snow, because yeah, you're gonna be constantly wet in these. So yeah, and they're not insulated, so you're gonna be cold. But in the hot weather, fantastic hot weather boot, in my opinion. Probably one of the best. In fact, if you ask me right now, hey, if you are dropped tomorrow in a desert, and you need a hot weather boot for a desert, for an operation in desert, whatever, which one would it be? It would be either Air Tac or this. Right now I'm thinking definitely this, because I do like the outsole way more than I like the outsole on the Air Tac, even though it's great on the Tac, but this is just way better in my opinion. So for hot weather, fantastic. Let's move on to the criteria number 6, sizing, really quickly. These are true to the size, although make sure, this is very important, make sure to get yourself half a size bigger than your normal shoe size. So if you wear 9.5, your normal shoe size, your sneakers, your dress shoes, whatever, get these in size 10. You want to have a little bit of extra space in the toe box between your toe and the toe box. You don't want your toe touching the front of this, because it will fatigue you really quickly, trust me. Let's move on to the criteria number 7 now, the balance of application. So if this really was your ultimate survival boot, Not just military training, but ultimate survival. That's it. You put on your shoes, your boots, whatever these boots, you put them on, you put on your backpack, you leave your house, and now you're walking from Florida to, I don't know, California. And surviving on the way, because this is the only safe place, right? California, the only safe place. That's a bad example, but you get the point. Listen, use your imagination, okay? Would this be good? Personally, to me, whenever it comes to the ultimate survival boots, my personal preference is mid-size hiking boot, okay? Waterproof mid-size hiking boot. But, like I said, if it was specifically something for hot weather, sandy, desert, think Afghanistan, I don't know. You know, think military training and military operation in Afghanistan. And I was asked the question, which boot would you pick? Yes, this is gonna be, this would be the boot for sure. Either this or the Armour Tac, but I don't know, I'm comparing it too much with the Armour Tac, so maybe I have to get them both and just do a comparison back to back like I did on some boots, because they're just, it's really hard to tell. So I think so far, because of the outsole, I would definitely go with these. I don't remember right off the bat, because it was a while ago that I did the review, how heavy, how light. I mean, those were pretty light too. Tacans were, but yeah, I gotta maybe do a comparison review between the two, because I'm kind of curious. But let's move on to the criteria number 8 now, the very last one here, and very important one, the price. $150 currently on Amazon. The link is in the description below. 150 bucks. I think it is maybe a little bit higher than being fair, I think. I would say maybe 120, 130. I would have been like, okay, yeah, 100% definitely fair, because of the Vibram outsole, because of, you know, but that's really the thing. One of the main things that you're getting in the boot is the Vibram outsole, right? Everything else is, it's a good boot, don't get me wrong. It's you know, smart. The lacing system is decent. The overall, the construction is built very nicely. It feels comfortable. But there's not much to it, you know, to be $150. So, and in this price range, yes, there's a lot of competition. In 150, there's decent amount of competition from the same Under Armour, from Daner, from Salomon. There is decent amount of competition in that price range. So do your research, check out. I have a lot of reviews on this channel. See, maybe you can find something you like a little bit more. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this review? What do you think about this boot? Would you consider it for your military training or ultimate survival? You never know. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. This was Ultimate Survival Gear, and I'll see you guys in the next video.